Alfred Hitchcock once said, "The more successful the villain, the more powerful the story." A great villain can endear us to the plight of the hero and give us somebody to root against. But how do you create a memorable villain?
King Kong ain't guts on me!
Last time we looked at 3 villain archetypes. This time we look at 3 more.
You had my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
This is How to Write a Villain, Part 2. Before we get diabolical, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon to enable notifications. You won't want to miss the next time things get villainous. For this episode of Page to Picture, we've imported some scripts into Studio Binder to see how writers communicate malevolence and malfeasance. We'll be spoiling the following films, and graphic content lies ahead. First up, the bully. A bully is a character who picks on vulnerable characters in a cruel and harmful manner. This tropish character is commonly found in school-age fictions, where jocks
Hello? Hello? Anybody home?
and mean girls terrorize less popular kids through public humiliation. Bullies provide the protagonist with a surmountable villain to overcome. They give us a character to root against, a character we love to hate. When writing a bully, always establish the conflict. The conflict between a bully and another character may materialize over a disagreement.
You're everyone's problem. That's because every time you go up in the air, you're unsafe.
A love interest,
You will honor me the way a wife is required to honor a husband, because I will not be made out of fools.
or a jealous insecurity.
Bet you loved that, didn't you, Potter? Famous Harry Potter. Can't even go into a bookshop without making the front page.
In the Karate Kid script, screenwriter Robert Mark Kamen establishes the conflict in Scene 10 when we're introduced to Johnny Lawrence, a character capable of no mercy. Johnny is a classic high school bully, a jock with an ex-girlfriend cheerleader who beats on the new kid in town. Jealousy and love make a dangerous pairing indeed. The beatdown Johnny gives Daniel is so one-sided that we can't help but feel bad. We see the emotional impact of this beatdown on page 13, when Daniel's mother sees his black eye. The somber moment unites us behind Daniel as we watch him train in karate in order to exact revenge. Johnny sustains his bully behavior throughout the film, but just before we write him off as one-dimensional, we get a glimpse that there is a line even he won't cross. When Sensei Kreese tells Bobby to take Daniel out, he protests.
I want him out of commission.
But Sensei, I can beat this guy.
I don't want him beaten.
But I'll be disqualified.
Out of commission.
And we can see Johnny wonder if things have gone too far. Then Johnny is told to sweep the leg and forced to embody the no mercy ethos he's been spouting.
Sweep the leg. You have a problem with that?
You can see Johnny struggle with what he's been told to do and who he wants to be.
No, Sensei. No mercy.
Johnny has been acting like a bully, but he's been the victim of bullying too. The catharsis comes at the end of the script on page 104, when Daniel performs a crane kick to win the All-Valley tournament.
That took a tremendous amount of work because on the page, all due respect to the writer, it's easy on the page.
It's important to establish conflict, but it's even more important to follow through on it. The climactic fight in The Karate Kid resolves the tension between the bully and the bullied. Johnny even hands Daniel the trophy and thanks him for a good match. But Johnny's arc is unresolved. There's still room for his redemption
Holy, how the hell are you?
Hey, man.
and revenge against Kreese.
It's good to see you.
The Karate Kid takes place in high school, like most bully stories. Writers can subvert the school-age bully by changing their environment.
You will be going undercover as high school students.
In 21 Jump Street, Jenko thinks acting like a bully will make him popular, like it did when he was in high school. However, the times have changed. Parking in a handicap spot and wearing a backpack with one strap is no longer considered cool.
Everybody's two-strapping.
Just stay with the one strap.
I can't right now.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
In this school, the bully can't just beat somebody down because the would-be bullied have people to support and defend them.
Look at the nerd.
Who you calling a nerd, man?
I'm sorry, what?
Dude. Hey, are you okay, man? Hey, what the hell? Are you serious?
I'll turn that gay-ass music off.
You punch me because I'm gay?
What? No, Oh, come on.
That's not cool, man.
Bullying isn't just relegated to the classroom or cafeteria. It can be found in psychiatric hospitals.
The vote was 10-8. The chief, he's got his hand up, look.
No, Mr. McMurphy. When the meeting was adjourned, the vote was 9-9.
Music conservatories.
Can you even read music? What is that?
Eighth note?
Yes, what is that?
Down to the 16th note.
Or deep within characters once thought reformed.
Accept my apology.
He said it's too late for that.
Bullies exist in any context, so consider how a particular setting might define their behavior.
Solitary, a month.
Yes, sir. What's the matter with you?
Get him out of here.
Bullying is all about power. If you take a bully's power away, they'll have no influence on others. For bullies, it's always important to consider their redemption. Are they going to stay a flat character? Or are they going to overcome their villainous ways? With The Karate Kid, Johnny Lawrence became a bully icon. Actor William Zabka said, "For years, I had dads dragging their kids over to meet me just to point out the biggest bully on the planet." However, the television series Cobra Kai shows us Johnny's side of the story. This provides us with an opportunity to see his character through a more nuanced lens. Sometimes, conflict is simply a matter of point of view.
At the Halloween dance, I'm sitting there minding my own business. He douses me with the water hose. Haven't seen the guy in months. Freaking turns a water hose on my head.
Added backstory allows us to empathize with the bully, and positive development even prompts us to cheer for them. When you have a bully recognize the error of their ways and go on to protect others, you establish an effective arc that complexifies the simple trope and transforms the villain into an unlikely hero. When writing a bully, clearly establish the conflict, have them adapt to the setting, and consider their redemption. Bullies typically don't have a complex rationale for their villainy.
He just made bullying the new bullying. Bully him!
But the same can't be said for our next type, the mastermind.
Anyone else here smarter than me?
The mastermind is a villain who designs intricate schemes to a threatening end. They are characterized by their attention to detail and ability to exploit weaknesses, like Chancellor Palpatine in Star Wars.
Move against the Jedi first. You will then have no difficulty in taking the Queen to Naboo to sign the treaty.
Dr. Evil in Austin Powers is an example of the archetype being mobilized for comedy.
Gentlemen, I have a plan. It's called blackmail.
A mastermind need not be a mustache-twirling megalomaniac.
Papa's got a brand new stash.
They can be anybody pulling the strings. The mastermind is the ultimate challenge for the protagonist.
We see a deadly sin on every street corner, in every home, and we tolerate it.
They are a villain who is usually driven by strong ideological beliefs, which helps to bring a wider thematic discussion into morally gray areas.
And what I've done is going to be puzzled over and studied and followed.
If you're writing a mastermind, conceal their identity so that the audience is left to guess who's underneath the mask. Or simply do it to symbolize evil in its anonymous form.
If I told you their names, I'm not going to tell you their names, but if I did, I don't think you'd sleep so well.
A concealed identity isn't necessary, but it can add a layer of intrigue to the plot. With any mastermind, it's important to establish the stakes.
Maybe Longlegs will kill again.
A mastermind always has an agenda, which can be personal or global. You can dial up the drama by making your mastermind attack society rather than an individual.
I've been invisible my whole life. I guess I won't be anymore, will I? They'll remember me now. They'll remember both of us.
This will load pressure onto the hero and cause them to confront their beliefs through the ordeals they create. Either way, the audience should know what it will mean if the mastermind succeeds.
They're going to starve 1/3 of the world's population.
The greater the suffering,
the greater the peace.
No matter what, you must ensure your villain is a mastermind by keeping them one step ahead of the other characters.
When they touch down, we'll blow the roof. They'll spend a month sifting through the rubble, and by the time they figure out what went wrong, we'll be sitting on a beach, earning 20%.
Masterminds don't just have a plan. They have thought things through so completely they can anticipate how their adversaries will react to the plan. By having your mastermind create deliberate traps, you communicate to the audience they're the one in charge. Few characters do this better than Kaiser Soze in The Usual Suspects. From the beginning of Christopher McQuarrie's script, we're left to wonder, who is the mysterious Kaiser Soze? We know he's a character who inspires terror, but we don't know where he is or even what he looks like. Much of what we know about Soze comes from a character named Verbal Kint, who says he's a mythic figure that haunts the criminal underworld. On page 92, Verbal says,
Nobody ever knew him or saw anybody that ever worked directly for him. But to hear Kobayashi tell it, anybody could have worked for Soze. You never knew. That was his power. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
In The Usual Suspects, the mastermind tricks not only the detectives, but the audience as well. The truth has been right in front of us. Our unassuming narrator, Verbal Kint, is the criminal mastermind Kaiser Soze.
Tell me every last
back when I was in that barbershop quartet in Skokie, Illinois. Where's your head, Agent Kuyan?
At least that's what we're led to believe. Verbal, a self-admitted con artist, is the ultimate unreliable narrator. It's possible that he's pretending to be Kaiser Soze. Whatever his name, he's a master storyteller who manipulates the police into ensuring his own freedom. Film reviewer Roger Ebert criticized this sort of convention of recontextualizing a narrative's events in saying, a lot of recent films seem unsatisfied unless they can add final scenes that can redefine the reality of everything that has gone before. Call it the Kaiser Soze syndrome. Ebert's criticism is fair. The script doesn't mention Verbal was making up the story with items in the detective's office until the very end. One could argue that it would have more effectively connected us with the genius of the mastermind if it laid clues throughout. Still, there's no denying the end of The Usual Suspects is an iconic twist. When writing a mastermind, conceal their identity, establish the stakes, and keep them one step ahead. Masterminds meticulously plan for everything, but our next type is usually a bit more impulsive. The psychopath is a villain who has a penchant for violence and lacks empathy. They are a threat to other characters, and they introduce an element of dangerous unpredictability to the narrative.
This guy's your colleague? This guy here? Yes, sir. He's my...
The psychopath may have logical...
This is gold, Mr. Bond. All my life I've been in love with its color. I welcome any enterprise that will increase my stock.
or illogical reasons for their brutality.
and I die, I will be reborn in paradise. Then all that I have killed will become my slaves. I will.
But more often than not, they just want to watch the world burn. So, when writing a psychopath, tease their backstory. This way, the audience can at least understand why they're so insane.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
In Cape Fear, Max Cady feels wronged by the lawyer who was assigned to defend him, which has set him on a path of revenge. Cady's psychopathic behavior and menacing demeanor gives the audience something to fear, which firmly aligns our sympathies with the family. His backstory has less to do with why he's crazy than it does with how it motivated him to terrorize specific characters.
14 years ago, I was forced to make a commitment to an 8x9 cell. Now you're going to be forced to make a commitment.
In Ted Tally's The Silence of the Lambs script, Hannibal Lecter is characterized as a pure psychopath. But we're not given much detail on what made him the way he is.
We've tried to study him, of course, but he's much too sophisticated for the standard tests.
He's effectively characterized through script action and dialogue.
That expires in 1 week. You're not real FBI, are you?
I'm still in training at the academy.
This works well in the film, as there's an enticing mystery to what he's done and what he's capable of doing next. In 2006, author Thomas Harris published Hannibal Rising, which explained that the iconic cannibal was traumatized from the death and cannibalization of his sister. This backstory helped flesh out the character, but removed the mystery that made him seem so ominous. It can be effective to give the audience some indication of why they are this way.
Most serial killers keep some sort of trophies from their victims.
I didn't.
No. No, you ate yours.
But too much information can deflate the mystery and the threat. Less information.
What business is it of yours? Where I'm from?
Less sympathy. More dangerous.
Just how dangerous is he?
Compared to what? The bubonic plague?
If you're writing a psychopathic villain, it's important to have them perform immoral actions. What helps define a psychopath is their actions, which appear to be devoid of rational or moral justification.
Why are you doing this to us?
Because you were home.
This also helps establish how much of a threat they are, and, by extension, adds to our support and sympathy for their adversary. First, we only hear about Lecter's actions. Then we see them when he escapes. This is a villain capable of terrible deeds. The ensuing chaos of psychopathic action disconnects the character from the audience and makes us see just how monstrous they can be. In writing a psychopath, you can juxtapose with a foil. This diametric works best when the foil has an antithetical belief to the villain. Even then, the psychopath may see themselves as heroic. It's all a matter of point of view.
Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives, and my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives.
Double major, psych and criminology, graduated in Magna.
In The Silence of the Lambs, Clarice Starling is a morally grounded contrast to both Lecter and Buffalo Bill, one whose pursuit of villainy won't end, even after the story ends.
I have no plans to call on you, Clarice. The world's more interesting with you in it.
So you take care now to extend me the same courtesy.
You know I can't make that promise. Dr. Lecter.
On the other hand, you can conjoin your psychopath with a mentally unwell character. In the television show Hannibal, Will Graham is brought into Hannibal's madness. Will's point of view and Hannibal's point of view are not aligned. But the camera shows us both perspectives, which forces us to consider who's insane and who's not. Hannibal's showrunner, Brian Fuller, explained, My goal for the show was to give the audience the feeling that they're reading Thomas Harris's writing cinematically, and to provide those kind of sumptuous and really strange images to support how Thomas Harris wrote stories, which I found really lurid and delicious. Psychopaths don't have to be murderous cannibals who eat liver with fava beans and a nice Chianti. They can be Wall Street traders who live by codes of greed.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
Or aspiring writers working as hotel custodians. When writing a psychopath, tease their backstory.
Like it or not, the wife of the governor of this state has only one nephew, and his name happens to be Percy Whitmore.
Have them perform immoral actions and juxtapose them with a foil.
A man is mean and careless and stupid, and that's a bad combination in a place like this.
When done well, these steps can add a layer of impact to your villain. Bullies, masterminds, and psychopaths are archetypal villains, and whether or not they're memorable is in your hands. Remember, your villain can be both a protagonist or antagonist. Don't feel pressured to stick to the common tropes and conventions. Flip the script and do something subversive instead. Just know that conventions are common for a reason. They provide writers with a blueprint for emotional resonance. A pure evil villain unites the audience behind the hero, while a sympathetic villain invites the audience to question the nature of good and evil. These are three villains writers use in their stories. What do you think? Are there any other villains you'd like us to cover? Let us know in the comments below. And subscribe to Studio Binder for more screenwriting videos. Until next time, veer away from villainy.
I am the tyranny of evil men, but I'm trying real hard